Many people talk about the ups and downs of married life, but no one really prepares you for life after your spouse passes away. Welcome to Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, a safe place for widows, widowers, and their friends and family to talk about love and loss. Find comfort as you listen to honest conversations between Tina and invited guests who've experienced the loss of their forever partner. Share their stories of love, grief, and healing. You are not alone in this journey. Join today's episode and discover a wealth of resources and learn how to connect with others who are traveling the same path. This is Widowhood Real Talk with Tina.
Hello, Widowhood. Today is November 28th, 2024. Yep, it's Thanksgiving. And it can be triggering. It can be easy breezy. We don't particularly know because grief has a funny way of just showing up. I would like to invite you today, December 28th, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I am having an exceptional Thanksgiving grief support group. You can register on Eventbrite, but the meeting is taking place confidentially on Zoom. You do have to register in advance. And depending on when you're listening to this podcast, you may have time to be able to make it today. I want you to know that I am thinking of you and you are not alone. I am on this journey with you. And that's why I'm available today at 10 a.m. Because I have found when you're able to start the day in a safe space with people who care, it makes all the difference in the world. Because some of the people we may spend the holiday season with, they're not familiar with the gravity of this experience of losing a partner. And I want you to know that throughout the world, there are people going through this with you today. Today, we're discussing memories. The first thing that people ask me as it relates to memories is when is a good time to start embracing memories of your loved one? And like most of the things as it relates to grief, I cannot tell someone when is the best time for you. I will say that if looking at those memories cause you too much pain, that it makes you dysfunctional, it makes it hurt, and it makes it feel like you just have a difficulty of showing up in the day, then it may not be a good time for you. If you look at the memories relating to your loved one and it causes you some sadness, those are happy tears of remembering those wonderful moments, and you are able to embrace those moments and still continue on with your life, then it may be a good time for you. That may be the next day, it may be 5 years later. Everyone's journey through this grief is different. But I would ask you to consider as you're thinking about, am I holding up after watching these memories or looking or reading letters? And if you find out that it's no, then it's no. If you find out that it's yes, then you have the green light to go forward. In the concept of discussing memories, I am going to share some of my favorite memories and experiences and things that have come out of Mark's passing with you today. The first thing that I want to share with you are some letters that Mark wrote to me when I was stationed in Korea and he was in Honduras and also at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. When I was in Korea, I purchased this box and it allows me to just, it feels so frilly and it's so cute. And I said, this is going to be where I keep my letters that Mark sent me while I was stationed in Korea. I had no idea how important this box would be in my life. When Mark passed, I instantly thought of this box and I was going through the house trying to find it. I had not seen this box in years. I knew it existed, but I'd forgotten where I placed it. I went into the basement and I was going through all these boxes that had not been opened in years. And I was frantic and I was distressed and I could not find it at all. And I started to wonder, had I thrown these away? What happened? My brain was in such a grief fog, I could not think straight. A little bit of time passed and I found it. And it made me feel so good. Even though I found it, I did not open it and I didn't read the letters. I was not ready for that, but I was ready to know where this was. and that it existed. And I did pick out a couple letters I was going to read in advance. But so this is just like so old right here. You can see all that. Mark and I would send each other tapes while I was in Korea and he was still back here in the States. So we had these two little miniature recorders that we would use to send letters back and forth to each other. Now, interesting enough, this contains the letters that Mark sent to me. I don't know where the letters are that I sent to him. I have no clue. There are some cards. So the letters are in here. There are some cards that Mark sent to me over time and a few other different things. And I did put his obituary in here and then also a card from his obituary. It seemed right to put it in here with everything else. I haven't looked at the card, so we're about to do this together. A special birthday wish for you. Hmm. The happiness we give away lives on and on day after day. It still lives on this many years later. There's not a date marking in here, but I have known Mark for over 32 years. Hmm. Can't seem to put my thoughts in words, but surely you must know a heart can feel so many things. The words can never show. And with your understanding way, you'll know this wish for you brings all my love and gratitude for thoughtful things you do. Have a happy birthday. Love always, Mark. Let's see what other things are in here. I'm going to read a couple of letters, but I at least want to see the cards. I haven't seen them. So thank you for doing this with me. Ooh, this one looks pretty. I like flowers. Ah, I like flowers. For some reason, the color differential, I'm not sure what's going on with that. You came into my life and filled it with happiness. You're the most important part of everything I do. And my life is so much happier since the day I met you. And there is nothing I want more throughout this day to be than just to go on loving you and knowing you love me. Happy Easter. Always love, Mark. Wow. Okay, I don't think I can hold up and read another card. I'm going to pull out the letters that I identified to read during this conversation. The first letter, I believe, is the very first letter that Mark sent to me when I was in Korea. He was still, I want to say, at Aberdeen Proving Ground, and I was in Korea shortly thereafter. I think he went to Fort Huachuca, Arizona. But in this letter, I think that he was still in Aberdeen Proving Ground, and that's where we met. This letter is dated. I put the dates on them and put them in order. This is 18 March 1986. And this is really him handwriting, like who writes so many letters nowadays? But here we go. Hey DL. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi DL. Dark and Lovely was the name he had for me. And he wrote the date here, but as I folded them and placed them in order, I wanted to have the date on the outside of the letter. Hi DL. If I were to say that I am doing fine right now, I would be lying. Yesterday in volleyball practice, I twisted my left ankle pretty bad. I jumped up to block the ball, and when I came down, the guy on the other side bumped me just a little, so I had my ankle go turn under me when I came down. I laid on the floor holding my left leg for about 3 minutes before I let anyone look at it. When I came down on it, I heard it crack. Ooh, I thought for sure it was broke. They picked me up and took me out to the boss's car, Staff Sergeant Rhea. and he took me over to the hospital. We were at the hospital for about an hour and a half. The doctor said it wasn't broke. So I was on a profile for 10 days. In a profile, if you've not been in the military, it means that something is wrong with you and you're not able to perform your duties. And so you're put on a like a no operation. And actually, this is not the very first letter. I apologize. The first letter Mark sent me was 24 February 86. So this was afterwards. I'll see about reading that one. So, some good news. Now, I'm going to take business math at Hartford Community College. Classes begin on Monday, March 24th, and continue throughout Thursday, May 15th, 1986. My classes are on Monday and Wednesday nights from 6:30 p.m. to 9:10 p.m. Well, here is some good news, or maybe it will be some bad news. Hmm. The 203rd Military Intelligence Battalion is going to take the 11th Military Company, so we have to have a new MTO. So that is equipment that's used for your organization, TO&E. We will only be authorized 2 photographers. So we have 4 photographers, and I have been here the longest. So, but they named me on the excess list. And so what that meant, his job was changing, and the people that they were allowed to have in his organization, which was the job he had as a photographer, was going down from 4 people to 2. And even though he was there the longest, they placed him on the excess list, which means they were saying that he was extra and they didn't need him in the unit. So they placed my name on the excess list. Tomorrow I'm going down to Arlington Hall to see the NCOIC of my MOS, so the non-commissioned officer and his military skill in INSCOM to see where I can go to from here in the States and overseas. So who knows, I might be coming to Korea or Japan. And I was in Korea, so that was super hopeful. Now he started this letter at 9:30 a.m. and now it's 2000 hours. For for one thing, I won't know for sure for a while. Anyhow, so don't make any decisions yet on where to come back to yet. So I was in Korea and it was a short tour, which was just a year. I actually extended for another 6 months, which gave me the option of where I wanted to come back in the States. But he was just saying, because I'm going through my tour, to not make any decisions because I wanted to be where he was, and that wasn't decided yet. I think you said that you have 6 months to decide. I'll keep you up to date on my status. I just got your letter today, the one dated 13th March 1986. I was glad to see it, and it had the right address, 203rd MI Battalion, not 501st or 29th, because he had moved to a different unit or whatever. Shay has been running around with Anne. Last weekend, they got in an accident. Oh, I don't know the whole story, but I think Anne was driving and they were drinking. I believe it was on post by the school brigade. I saw Jackie tonight at January. I saw Jackie tonight. I gave her your address. I went down Saturday afternoon, Friday. It was raining really bad and I was tired. So I decided to wait till the morning. They asked, how were you doing? And if you write. So I told them what you told me, the reason I didn't make a paragraph or make it a big deal because of how you asked me to respond. I was going to ask you if you were wearing my sweatshirt from Germany that says Oktoberfest 83 on it when you wrote you before and told me I didn't have to wear the Chicago Bears shirt because I'm from Chicago. There are some photos of me skiing that Fred took on the ski trip, and I told him about it, and he is gone to find the photo from the house. I hope you like it. Oh my gosh. I have not read this letter in a long time. And the photo that Mark is talking about, I think it's actually in his obituary. Now I have to go find it and look and see. Oh, so many memories. It is not here, but I think it was on the memorial video that we had from him. Wow. I didn't know his friend gave us that photo and where it even came from. Well, that's it for now. I try to explain some more things on the tape in a few days and have some questions on it too. Wow. Okay. I thought I could read 3 letters. Imma see if I can make this. That is the one from 18 March, and I am going to read, I think, really what is the first letter that he sent me from 24 February 1986. To my love, Tina. I got up at 07:10. Yes, I got up late again. This week I'm going to do the hallway cleanup, so it doesn't matter too much. I got to work out about 08:10 and work I mix color slides and chemicals. Mark was a photographer in the military and they were still mixing chemicals and developing film for themselves. After that, I developed 4 rolls of slides. By then, it was time for lunch. I had baked chicken, potatoes, and some pineapple slices to eat. I had a Coke to drink, and Mark did not like Coke. He was a Pepsi guy, so I'm not sure if he was happy about that day. I went back to work, and then I had to go to the motor stables. Motor stables is where they keep all of the military vehicles. When I got there, my truck wasn't there, but it was outside. So I walked into the motor pool and there it was. It was inside because I had to do a service on it. Pretty much PMCS, preventative maintenance service, or something you do on your military vehicles. And there's a schedule in which you do them based on the service that's due. Pretty much like we do with our vehicles, but it's more related on the military side. The people in the motor pool inspected it and said what was wrong. So I had to do the clean in the air filter and put grease where it belonged. Replace the right side of the motor for the window blade and change out twice. I don't have to change the tires. These tires rotate they rotate them at the motor pool. I had to clean the rest off and the battery from the box too. I cleaned the battery box and jacked up the truck. I'm not doing this by myself. Staff Sergeant Ray is helping me because I was like, that is not safe. There should be protocol, which there is. So we just got the truck jacked up and all of the nuts off the tires and rotated them around to the proper place. By then though, it was snowing outside, so we went back to work at the shop and didn't do the rest of the and didn't do PT. Freddie was on me about getting my hands dirty and saying he wished he had been there with the camera because I mean being a photographer, he wasn't out there getting himself dirty or anything. I still have dirt on grease on my hands, mostly under my fingernails. Freddie told all the people in the motor pool that I crashed and fell on my nose skiing Friday. People kept coming up to me and saying, I had, how had you fallen on your nose skiing? I said, Freddie didn't tell you the whole truth. They said Freddie was just trying to show off, remembering on the tape that I told you about falling that one time, last time down the hill. I'm going to stop for now writing and for you, thinking about you the last 2.5 hours. Good night, my sweet dreams. I should be saying, have a good afternoon. Love you. 2300 hours where you're at. Today I got the today I got up the earliest since I've been back. 06400. 0640 because Mark would travel back and forth to Honduras and different places like that. I think because B Company was having an inspection at 0700. I think everyone from B Company was there. They had been in different places, different grades from SP4 to SFC and First Sergeant. Um, I'm getting tired too, so that all for now. I think I might put the rest on a tape. I hope you don't keep me up late tonight because he was missing me. So this was the first letter he wrote, but I received more tapes before this. And I actually need to take these and get these digitized because when I tried to listen to one of them, it was all scratchy. So that's something I want to do. Okay. That's a couple of letters. Wasn't all the ones I thought I would read, but I'm satisfied with that. And so you can see it is 7 years later, and it still hits me some kind of way looking at these things. But it also brings back so many wonderful memories. I'm glad that I kept these things over the years and I didn't just get rid of them. Sometimes you just have a lot of stuff and you don't think about what it's going to mean later, but this was a good decision. I'm glad that I kept these and all the cards and everything else. Uh, okay, I'll close that later. But this is my memory box of letters from Mark over the years. The next thing I want to share with you are some photos. This is my most favorite picture of us. We are in a house in Gloucester, Virginia that we purchased, and we were moving in. And my two of my sisters, Denise and Yolanda, were in the area, and they did a lot helping us move in. And I'm guessing that one of them took this picture. I just like the way we're laughing, and I'm just leaning on him and just embracing him. Few more photos. Oh, okay. I wanted to share this one. These are pictures from when we got married. We eloped in Florida, and it was the two of us, and we were just having a really good time. Now, looking at this picture now, like Mark with a midriff, and he had so much hair. Like I would always call him Sasquatch because it was just so much hair. And this is in the beach in Orlando, Florida, and we are just enjoying ourselves together. I think we had already gotten married the day before that. This is a picture of Mark. We really enjoyed traveling and going to museums. And this is a picture of him at a museum there in Florida. I will say that during the holidays is when I tend to look at photos the most. And holidays may not always be traditional holidays. It may be his birthday. It may be our wedding anniversary. Special moments for us. That tends to give me a time when I want to go back and look at photos. This is in my room in the barracks. Let me get out the. Oh, okay, there we go. This is my room in the barracks in Aberdeen Proving Ground. And oh no, 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 no. This is in Korea because this is something I had with our names drawn on it. And then this is a painting that I had done in Korea. So that is in my barracks in Korea when Mark came to visit me there. Yeah, that is because that's where I had that done at when I came back from, oh, you know what? Hmm. That may actually be my room in Fort Eustis. Yeah, okay. That was so the pictures painting I had done in Korea, and then I had our names done in that artwork. So that was actually in Fort Eustis after I returned from Korea, and that's where that was from in that time. These are some more. Oh, I just okay, I did have that picture. It was the same picture that I had taken out of the photo album. I like this picture. So, oh, you know what? Okay, I see what's happening here. We are I am in shorts. Those orange shorts there are the same orange shorts that I'm wearing in this picture. So this was us probably getting ready for the party and Mark was dressed already and I was just still messing with him. But the laughter in our face and the love, it does me some kind of way. Mark loved hunting. He loved fishing. He was an outdoor guy. And if he had an opportunity to fish, he was going to take it. And this was a big fish that he caught one day. And let me see if I can pull this one out. And for my friends that are listening to this on Audible, please go to check out my YouTube channel where you can get to see the pictures and everything that I'm showing. This is another picture of Mark fishing, and that may have actually been in our backyard in a house in Gloucester because there's like a 7-acre pond behind that house. And it was his place to just come home from work, go right out to the pond and decompress before having to just get involved with anything. So it was a really good place for him to have space to relax. This is another picture of Mark with a fish. And I don't fish, so I couldn't tell you what type of fish it is, but I knew he caught a lot of bass, so I'm guessing it's that. But maybe somebody that is an avid fisher person, you can tell me what type of fish you think it is. But it was just good to see him happy and just fishing. So, okay, I'll put those away afterwards. Two more photo albums, not every photo, but just some of the photos in it. The house in Gloucester that I'm referring to, this is when the house was under construction, and that is me sitting on the stoop of the front, what would be the front door and little porch to the house. And Mark was a licensed electrician. And I must say, I just thought he was sexy every time I could take a picture of him. And this is him walking through the house with the tools as he's about to do something electrical. So to reduce the cost of the house, since Mark was a licensed electrician, we bartered with the builder and we took on the cost of the electrical work and the wiring and different things like that. And that saved us some money. We also bartered on the cost of painting and purchased the paint ourselves and then had friends come and help us do painting. This is when the house was done and we moved into the house. And you can see a little bit of the pond in the back. One more photo out. Oh, okay. This is a picture of when Alexander was born. And this is Catherine and Alex together. Mark is holding them, whoop, and I am taking the picture. And that the kids have on outfits that are alike, like matchy matchy. And then this is a picture of Mark and his mom is no longer here either. And that's Mark, his mother, and Catherine Alexander. And this is when we just brought Alexander home from the hospital. I guess I did it backwards because this is us in the hospital, waiting for Alexander to be born. And once again, Mr. Sexy looking over there. I'm in the bed, doing what people do before they have a baby. Probably not screaming, but whew, a little painful right there. So, and I'm not about all that pain. So those are some pictures from us. One of the things that was difficult to do and how to handle were a lot of items that I wasn't using since Mark was no longer here. And the idea of what to do with our wedding bands. And when I took it off, when it was the right time, I had a job that required me to in the installation where I worked in the business office, and it required me to show new people around the installation. And the first time that I had to show someone around the installation after Mark passed, I was wearing my wedding band. And when you don't know people, you try to have conversations. It's kind of like low hanging fruit. And the person said, "Oh, how's your husband doing?" And I said, "He's dead." It just came out of my mouth before I could think about it. And then I went on to the whole story about how he died. This was like 5 minutes into their visit, and we were about to spend the rest of the day together. I know they wanted to run out of the building. After it came out of my mouth, I was like, that was too much, Tina. But I had no filter and I had no concept of how to control that. I hated that part of grief, just feeling like I was not competent, that grief fog was so heavy and everything was awkward. And I was just trying to figure out how to exist. So I had to start thinking about how do I manage this? So I thought about just how I would share the story of my husband not being here, but obviously not going into that level of detail anymore because nobody needed that. But in time, I just felt weird wearing my wedding band. I felt like I wasn't married anymore. And I know the reality of that stopped the moment that Mark no longer breathed in this world, but coming to terms with that is a different thing. So when I was at the point that I no longer felt comfortable wearing our wedding bands, I wanted some way in which I could wear it and it not be awkward for me. And one of my really good friends, Jennifer Mariner, who did a podcast with me, I want to say in 2023, she took me to Cameo, who was another widow there on base. And she said, "You need to talk to Cameo. She has something that will help you." And I knew Cameo, we worked together, but I dare say that was our longest conversation. And she showed me what she had done with her wedding bands. This, these are our wedding bands. The outer heart is Mark's wedding band, and then the inner heart is my wedding band, and I wear it on this chain. And I took it to a jeweler and I showed them a picture of what I wanted, and they were able to create this. And leaving it there at the jeweler was hard. I was like, Tina, it's just some rings, you'll get them back. But I felt like I was leaving a part of myself there with the jeweler. But when I went to pick them up and saw the work that they did, I was extremely satisfied. And as with my engagement ring, I was still keeping that, but I was not wearing it. When I did remarry with Fred, I took the diamond cluster off of the engagement ring and placed it on a necklace as a pendant for Catherine, and that was my gift to her when I got married. So this may be something super helpful for you as you look to repurpose different things with your spouse. The last thing that I want to show you, and I hope you're able to get a good view of this. A really good friend of mine named Griselle. This was the week before I was leaving Pennsylvania and returning to Virginia. And she came over to say hello, a little bit of crying and just like the reality I was leaving. And Griselle is my version, or I'm not sure what the term is, but she's a master quilter. She is amazing. And I love her. And over the time living in over time living in Pennsylvania, Griselle and I grew really close. And I remember when she started quilting and she had all the equipment and doing everything, it was just amazing. So she comes to the house and we're just talking about different things. And we were actually on the floor in Alexander's bedroom. And we started talking about my drive to Maryland to see a really good friend of mine, Barbara, and then I would drive on to Virginia. And I still had the last of Mark's clothes in the closet because I had identified things that I'd given away to Salvation Army or a men's support house or things like that. But these final items I could not part with. But I was struggling with what I would do with those driving to Virginia. And in my head, I was thinking, are you really going to take this 3, 4 states away and make it that heavy in the car? Well, in that conversation, Griselle said, "Can I have those clothes?" And I was like, well, "What are you going to do?" And what she said, Griselle said, "Can I have those clothes and make a quilt out of it for you?" And I started crying. And I was like, it was so heavy to think about taking those clothes and being in the car and driving. I saw myself crying the whole way there. And when she said that, I knew that that was an answer to my prayers from God as far as what to do with the clothing. And when I took them out of the closet and I took it out and placed it in her car, I felt like I was carrying Mark. And I laid it in the car and just so gently placed it in there. I think it was 2 or 3 trips. I had some clothes from the children, I had some clothes remaining from me and Mark. And this is the quilt that Griselle did for me. This is the backing. And when I saw the backing, I was like, oh my gosh, I am African American, i.e., Black. and white, and that's Mark. The level of care. And when I said that, she said, I never thought about the reality that you are a black and white couple. It just seemed like it fit. And it did. This is the quilt. Now I am 5'9", just for perspective. And this is covering me from head to toe. And that is the short part of it. If I hold it up longer, it's a different perspective altogether. The clothing that's in here, there is green from a dress that I had. The tan is a suit that Mark wore. The blue over here is another suit. Orange is something from Alexander. And there's a white, oh, white in here is a blouse from me. And then another shirt that Mark wore. And when this came, I was here in Virginia. I had just moved here. Well, maybe I had been here about a year, and Griselle sent it to me, and I was so apprehensive about opening the box and what that would look like for me. So I took it with me to my grief share support group, and I opened the box there, and they it was a good decision. They took some of the weight of the emotional weight of having to open that box and thinking about what it meant. When I slept with this, it feels like a weighted blanket. It just was, it made me feel like Mark was hugging me, that the weight of the blanket, and I slept so good when I received this blanket. It was a hard emotional thing to do, but it brought me so much comfort. And those are some of my favorite memories that I usually embrace and look at during the holidays. I am so interested to hear from you and see what are some of your favorite memories. What are the things that you embrace about your loved one? Have you gotten to the place that you are now embracing memories? Or maybe you're in a place where you're not ready for that yet, and what that is looking like for you. I invite you to email me at widowhoodrealtalk@gmail.com and share that with me. I would like to connect and hear from you. I also would like to invite you to participate in our event here locally in Norfolk, Virginia, Surviving the Winter Wonderland. It is a social shenanigans. So, yes, there are widows and widowers literally coming from around the United States. And hopefully, when you listen to this video, we have a few slots left if you want to participate. There are details on our website and widowhoodrealtalkwithtina.org and also on Eventbrite. There will be information as far as lodging, the activities for the weekend. On the top side on Friday night, when people get in, we're planning to have a social in the hotel lobby where the majority of people should be staying. Then on Saturday night, we are having a dinner and get together. And then Sunday, we are having breakfast. There, each person is responsible for paying for their lodging and meals. Well, meals on Friday and then also on Sunday. Saturday night, the meals are included in the fee. There'll be a swag bag, and we'll have activities and different things planned out that you'll see there on Eventbrite. The event is December 6th to the 8th. So this podcast is airing on November 28th. So you have until the 30th to be able to register and to participate in this event. If you're interested in additional details, please also email me at widowhoodrealtalk@gmail.com for any additional details. And the sweatshirt that I am wearing was actually created by Sylvia, who is a widow that I met on TikTok. And she does these custom made sweatshirts. So you can either email me for her information or you can find her on TikTok and also on Instagram at She Is a Woman Inspired. And she will allow you to pick the color. The sweatshirt information says widow with a heart. And on the sleeve of your shirt, you can choose to put initials or you can put the name of your loved one. and it is so soft. And she also provides care instructions. So you are not going to be at a loss on what to do with it. And I just thought it was so amazing that she came up with this idea. And I am enjoying getting to know her and just being able to promote what she is doing to support the widowhood. I hope that this conversation has been helpful for you. And if the holidays have you in a tizzy and it's all spun up, know that it is okay for you to step away from everyone and find a space to relax, to exhale. And it's okay if you don't want to go do all of the things that you've done before because life is different. And trying to plug and play ourselves into activities that don't fit when our loved one is not here, it may be possible that you may serve yourself better to relax, to not put the pressure on yourself to do everything. But if you feel like doing it, then do it. This is a journey that you are figuring out how it works for you individually. So I want to say thank you for allowing me to spend this Thanksgiving with you. And I look forward to hearing from you soon and also seeing you on next Thursday. You have a good evening, good day, good morning, or good afternoon. Bye.
Thank you for spending another episode with Widowhood Real Talk. If you found the contents of today helpful, share the episode to anyone you know who may need it. Subscribe to the show and tune into Widowhood Real Talk each week. Then visit widowhood-realtalkwithtina.org to join the community and access additional resources. Remember, you are not alone in this journey.